All right, it's my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Sport Exchange this week. My name is Jide Olanero. On the show, we'll take you through some exciting news making rounds as far as the sector sport business is concerned. And also, we'll be looking at a triangular partnership of events that is happening, the bid to develop a sport hub in Nigeria. Okay, from there also we'll be having a conversation with one person that you know, talking about developing basketball on the continent of Africa. This and more you will get to be off the field on the show today. Let me go on a short break, and when I come back, it'll be time to take the news. Welcome back. Let's start with this one coming from Nigeria. Digital sports management firm Van Dyke Sports Limited has signed a memorandum of understanding with the University of Port Harcourt Sports Institute to champion the cause of education, sports development, research, training, and the nurturing of athletes to national and global limelight. The virtual signing was done by the Vice Chancellor of Uniport, Professor Stephen Okodudu, the Chief Executive Officer of Van Dyke, Emeka Enyadike, Director of the University of Port Harcourt Sports Institute, Professor Ken Anugweje, and Mario Leo, founder and CEO of Result Sports from Germany, the international technical partner of Van Dyke Sports. The MOU aims to make the Uniport Sports Institute a sport tech hub. DAZN Group, the global sports subscription service and media company, is looking into ways of securing new investment of as much as $1 billion. Bloomberg reports that the company is speaking with advisors on exploring options, which includes divestment of assets and a strategic initial public offering. This is not the first time that the media company has sought investment, as it would be recalled it hired financial services company Goldman Sachs before the COVID-19 outbreak with a view to raising as much as $500 million in investment. Meanwhile, DAZN Group also has negotiated a reduction in annual rights fee payments to Japan's J-League and a 2-year extension to its long-term agreement. The media company also pulled off a transformational profit-sharing agreement that redefines the traditional sports rights model. The 2-year extension prolongs DAZN's domestic rights to the top 3 J-League divisions up to and including the 2028 season. English Premier League club Southampton has moved swiftly to secure a shared sponsorship with Sportbet company, the cryptocurrency-based sports betting platform, after the termination of its agreement with Chinese company LD Sports. Southampton says it had been left with no alternative but to immediately end the contract with LD Sports after failing to secure confirmation that the sponsor was still an appropriate and viable partner for the club. Brighton and Hove Albion is set to become the first Premier League team to play in front of fans since March, while UEFA has announced that this year's Super Cup will take place in front of a limited number of fans. UK government sources have confirmed that plans are underway to launch a series of test events allowing a minimal number of fans into football games, with a pre-season fixture at Brighton Amex Stadium, as well as select Women's Super League figures and the non-league FA Trophy and VAS among the potential events. This year's Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon will not be run on the roads of the city-states, with virtual alternatives being explored instead. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, event organizer, the Ironman Group, called off the traditional road race for this year's marathon, which was scheduled to be run in December. The organizer is currently working on an unconventional format with both virtual and physical components being planned for the annual event. And to Formula One has announced the addition of 4 further races to the revised 2020 calendar, taking the total number to 17. The Turkish Grand Prix will go ahead in Istanbul on the weekend of November 13 to 15, before the Gulf nation of Bahrain hosts 2 races on 2 consecutive weekends. The first, on November 27 to 29, will be known as the Bahrain Grand Prix, while the Sakura Grand Prix will run on December 4 to 6. Abu Dhabi will host the season-ending Grand Prix on the weekend of December 11 to 13. That wraps up the news. We're going to a short break, and when we come back, we'll be hosting our first guests on the Dugout segment. Yes, welcome back. It's still Sport Exchange, and right now we will be talking to the founder of Ball Africa, and we'll be looking at the upcoming Basketball Africa conversation. And joining me now is Femi Adefeso. Femi, how are you doing?
I'm good, Jide. Thank you very much for having me. Always a pleasure to always chat sports with you.
Okay. Now, Femi, let's talk about the African basketball conversation now. What is actually the African basketball conversation all about?
Well, like the name says, it's just a conversation between or amongst basketball stakeholders or influencers, depending on which choice of words is convenient for you. To just talk about the pertinent issues around the game of basketball. One of the frontline voices for basketball, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. Having covered about 5 Afro-Basket championships and gone on to cover the NBA All-Star weekend as well. I realized seemingly I seem to be the voice in the wilderness, as it were. And after coming back from that trip to Los Angeles, I just thought of, beginning to scout for people who also were doing the same things in various parts of the world, and in Africa to be precise. And then the journey started for me, and I've been lucky enough to get a good number of people who do the same thing in different countries, from South Africa to Tanzania to Ghana. I can go on and on and on. This conference will be having actually 12 people from 9 different African countries. Unfortunately, we couldn't get everyone to sign up like we wanted to. But the idea is just basically to look at the game of basketball in a continent like Africa, where football is king. I for one, I believe basketball has come of age, and it's about time we begin to look at ways to grow the sports beyond what it is. You look at how many Africans in diaspora are doing great things out there, and there's very little attention, very little notice with regards to what they're doing. So it's just a way of finding a connect, building a platform, and beginning to influence the popularity of the sport and the game. And let's start dealing with the issues that are affecting the growth of the sports on the continent.
All right. Now, Femi, yes, let me ask you, are you looking at this conference setting the tone for the Basketball African League as well?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be part of what we'll be discussing, to be honest with you, because that's like the new bride of basketball on the continent, and it's setting the tone for what it will be in the next, say, 2, 3, 4 years. According to Amadou Gallo, he says he has a 10-year plan. with that. But definitely, it's something we'll discuss. But really, the most pertinent issues are, the issues that affect, the African players playing in the domestic clubs. Now, they need to play at their clubs before they can qualify to play at the Basketball Africa League. So that's like top tier. What's happening beneath? Those are some of the things we need to talk about. How are clubs being run? What is the promotion going into those clubs? What's the financing like? I heard a story of a player who is stuck in Tunisia prior to the COVID-19, and he's still been there. He hasn't been paid. He was actually acquired to come play the Basketball Africa League, and for the last 4 months, he hasn't received any salaries. Things like that are some of the issues that we need to look at. Particularly, you look at what CAF has done with the Champions League. The CAF Confederations Cup, the likes of Abu Trika, Mputumara, you hear those guys, Tresor Mputu of TP Mazembe, they're well celebrated, they are stars of their own, but you don't see that in basketball. So those are some of the things we are looking at. Why is there a difference? Basketball is as big, it should be generating as much income, as much revenue as it is, and those things really are issues we'll be talking about. So it's not going to be a one-off thing. This is just the first step, in a journey of 1,000 miles. And I'm just excited that, a lot of people are unified about this. I was excited reaching out to people from various countries, and everybody seems to be on the same queue. Look, we need to start pushing for these things, to get better. Yes, the NBA will come with the BAL to do what it needs to do. But beneath that, how many clubs will be able to benefit from that bounty every other year? What goes down to the under 17s, the under 18s, level? How do we promote these players to become stars so they can stand alongside, even if not DJ Drogba and Samuel Eto'o? I just mentioned an Abu Trika of Al Ali, or a Tresor Mputu. We need to start doing that for basketball, and that's really what we hope to achieve on mid and long term.
Are you guys also planning to have some of these administrators on the continent to be around to listen to you guys, to how you're passionate about seeing the fruition of the dreams for basketball in Africa?
Most definitely, we will be engaging them because, it's an entire value chain. Right now, we are different people from different places. One of our panelists is an ex-Olympian, an ex-Afro-Basket champion, Victor Muzadi of Angola. So he's been there as a player. Now he runs an outfit called Muzadi Court, which organizes 3-on-3 basketball across Eastern and Southern Africa. We have Silali Shani, who was the ex-captain of the Kenyan national women's basketball team. She went to about 4 Afro baskets. She was captain for almost a decade, and she's been through the game. We have, other people like Adidami Adedotum, who runs B-Ball Nigeria, from a PR perspective. We have Coach Ibel Unsong, who is a scout with the Toronto Raptors, also one of the people who will be speaking, looking at youth, what they need to do, what they need to know, what scouts look out for. We have the Giants of Africa coordinator in Cameroon as well, all there. So we try to achieve 2 things in this first conference. First, try to reach the 4 corners of Africa. We got someone from Tunisia. We're able to get people from Eastern and Southern Africa, and then from West Africa as well, and Central Africa. So that is just to give, a total footprint of trying to reach out to everyone. Then secondly, we got different sectors, from the media, to coaching, to scouting, to ex-players and administrators. We have the president of the Cameroonian Central Regional League, also part of the facilitators here. And so we've really gone all out to ensure that we try to pick everybody to come together, from the various aspects of developing the sports and promoting it. And then we go from here as to the next conversation. So that's why we just called it an African basketball conversation. They will be having different topics we will be talking about. So it's non-exhaustive. It's going to keep going on, and we'll keep doing this maybe quarterly, maybe monthly. But for now, we don't want to rush things. We want to take it one step at a time, and we'll see how we can get everybody on board to focus on achieving these goals that we want to, and hopefully, we become, a major driving force as regards to where the pendulum of basketball swings in terms of development.
Okay, thank you very much, Femi, for joining me. Femi, by the way, is the founder, once again, of Basketball Africa, and they are putting together African Basketball Conversation. I wish you all the best, Femi.
Thank you very much. Just let me say this very quickly before I go. Ball Africa is actually an acronym. It's called Balls Activating Literacy and Leadership in Africa. And it's just basically to empower sports enthusiasts and sports aspiring youth who want to get into sports in various ways and to fill in the various value chain of sports, just not just in Nigeria, but in Africa as a whole. Thank you for having me, Jide.
All right, all the best. All right, we'll go on a short break now. When we come back, the program continues.
Fantastically finished.
Welcome back. All right, joining me to look at the triangular partnership that is going to make sports tick in Nigeria is the Chief Executive Officer of Van Dyke Sports, Emeka Enyadike. Emeka, it's a pleasure to have you on Sports Exchange.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. I hope you're all keeping well there.
Yeah, we are keeping safe. All right, Emeka, can you run us through the triangular partnership that seeks to do something great in sports in Nigeria?
Well, I think we've got there's one thing we've learned through this whole exercise that we've had to be put through with COVID-19 is the fact that only those who embrace technology will remain relevant, and this is true for every sphere of human endeavor, and especially in every industry. But I think the most disrupted industry has been the sports industry. And one thing that we have seen is the preponderance of new technologies, new initiatives, innovations, and all of that has tremendous effect on not just media that we all work in, but also in sports performance in terms of media, every aspect of the industry. The extent that if you don't embrace it, you almost cannot relevant or even stay committed. So that's where we are, and we thought that there was a need for not just Nigeria but Africa. And having worked in this space, we cannot figure that if we do not do something, far behind. So we've worked on this for 4 years and modified it over time, and then finally we found the right partner in University of Port Harcourt because they were able to provide all of the tools that we needed, and pretty much very close to an airport as well. So it makes it a lot easier for all of the international partners to come in. So it sounds like a tripartite agreement, but what we have is the base. The other partners will come on board, and hopefully we'll be able to make Nigeria the hub for sports in Africa.
All right. You've signed the MOU. When are we looking at the takeoff?
We're going to start with a sports forum next month, which will be on the 24th and 25th of September. At that forum, we're going to reveal all of what we'll do. We're ready. We're ready. We also conscious of the health challenges, so we don't want to put too many people into all of those difficulties. But we're in a digital age. We already have the capacity to beam everything from around the world. We've got partners in different places, so they're going to be able to contribute from wherever they are. So the summit will be virtual this year. From next year, hopefully, we'll be able to bring them all to Nigeria. But more than anything else, some of the programs will start soon after the summit, and then it's got two legs. We've got the hub, and then we've got the International Academy, where we'll cover as much of the sporting codes as possible. So our change the narrative in terms of how people train athletes and how they prepare them, and then give us the space to be able to.
Aside the university community, which other community or sector will be benefiting from this partnership?
Well, I talked about the media earlier, and I also I would also say the sports sector, be it federations, we're going to help the league. We're going to help the athletes, and the one area where we want to put a lot of emphasis is there's going to be a startup zone in that area where those who have ideas to create new platforms or drive technology around some of it. I mean, we've received some requests from young Nigerians who have created gaming platforms, and then the biggest thing we're bringing is esports as well. We have a few partners who have created these platforms, and we also have some alignment with other hubs that we have in Tel Aviv, and then a few in Barcelona and Germany. And the idea is to be able to create that environment where those who have to create either apps or create some kind of innovative product that can be useful, whether it's for ticketing or some other travel or whatever part of it, which impacts on the sports industry as a whole. We'll be able to create a platform for them to be able to scale this up to a point where they get mentorship from some of these partners that we've. And I was really thrilled last year when we attended a conference in Lagos, 4 Points, and there were a lot of exciting initiatives by some Nigerians. And then one more thing is how to help some of these federations and leagues, and also athletes who want to put their platforms on some streaming platform, or they want to put it in a place where people can see them. And then, of course, our digital research capability, which we have with our AI tool, which allows us to create a database of fan situation in Africa. Because the biggest challenge that a lot of the African clubs, federations, and the rest of them have with finding sponsorship is their inability to provide the stats as to who's following them. And this is something we've done for 3 years. And we've created a benchmark for the sports industry in Africa where we can tell you. And I'll give you an exclusive on your show. We're releasing the report now on the latest African benchmark. And a Nigerian club, Fundraiser, has jumped from nowhere into the 37th most followed club in Africa.
Wow.
And you can take it. That report is going out. Went out 5 minutes ago, so most people haven't seen it.
No.
We did that. So we're able to tell at any given point in time how many fans of Arsenal you have in Aba or Kanu or wherever. We can tell how many fans of each of the teams. We can tell what they're doing at any given point in time, and we can tell where sponsors need to put their funding to. This is something that has worked for a lot of the clubs in Europe. And you find that even when there isn't fans in the game, they're making a lot more money because there's more eyeballs. But in Nigeria, we're just sleeping. We complain about TV. Right now, the sports industry is an enabler. The businesses around the sports industry are so many because of the technologies that have been created. There are startups that have created cameras where you have one camera in the stadium. You don't need an OB van to broadcast a game. Just one camera, you can do all of that. You also have a scenario where if a league, on a typical Saturday when there's 10 league matches in the Premier League in Nigeria, you can have it broadcast without OB vans, and you'll have all the games on TV. So there are a lot of those new, evolving, emerging technologies that we think will help us, because we keep looking for the bogus, antiquated technologies that have kept us where we are. And I think that more than anything else, there's GPS tracking devices where you can check heart rate of athletes. You can check also their performance on the pitch and run it through a computer program that gives you the right decision making in terms of preparation. I was in Nigeria last year for the start of the league. It was Lobby. I went to Jos. There was Lobby versus Plateau United, and after the game, I had conversations with the coaches, And I was embarrassed because sometimes some of the conversations around how they prepare their teams, they need to know that all of that has changed.
All right, Emeka, I wish we can keep going on and on and on, but this is a conversation that is evolving, and I know that with time we'll still have another opportunity to look at what this partnership has achieved. Thank you very much for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having me, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay, that was the Chief Executive Officer of Van Dijk Sports, and we were talking about the partnership of Van Dijk with University of Port Harcourt. That's the University of Port Harcourt Sports Institute. Yes, that's it for me today. This is where the cookie crumbles, and I have to say my bye-bye. On behalf of the team, my name is Judy Olaniran, urging you to stay fit and remain loving sports.